screen into the hands of LeBron James. Butler on him. Green coming up to set a screen. James goes the other way. Drives down a lane. Back out to Green. Green for three. Off the mark. No good. Marquise Morris has it. Throws it inside and throws it out of bounds. With 2.2 remaining.
111 to 108, your final score. Welcome back into our NBA TV studios. I'm Kristen Ledlow. This is Game Time Live at the NBA Finals 2020, presented by YouTube TV. I'm joined now by our Hall of Famers, Grant Hill, Kevin McHale, Isiah Thomas. And Grant, you were the only one who had it right ahead of the game. They said that you were being mean, but perhaps you were being realistic.
Well, you know, I study a lot of film, Kristen. And,
That's not why. That's not why. He just wasn't ready.
You were just being mean.
He wasn't ready to say goodbye to us yet. He wasn't ready to say goodbye to the season.
I wanted to keep working. You know, it's been such great basketball in the bubble. And this game here, it did let us down. What an amazing game here, Game 5. Both teams, LeBron James, Jimmy Butler. I just felt that the Heat, as great as LeBron and AD were in Game 4, they still lost by 6. You know, KCP had to make a couple plays for the Heat to win. And so this team just has a special spirit about them. They have tremendous confidence. They have Jimmy Butler playing. He was more aggressive tonight, which we talked about in the opening. It could have gone either way there, but wow, we were in for a treat as fans and as spectators having an opportunity to watch this game.
That we were. Let's look at some of the clutch plays that got us here down the stretch. Coach, I want you to walk me through what you saw in some of these final minutes, starting here with Duncan Robinson knocking down yet another three. He had 26 points, 7 of 13 from deep.
Yeah, Jimmy had everybody looking at him, and Duncan Robinson he moves well without the ball, and he just finds ways to get open. Again, he's just going to keep running off the tough shot. I thought this was a big shot. That was one of the first shots he made over Anthony Davis. That gave him some confidence. And then this guy, Van Gundy kept talking about. Coach Van Gundy said, "Run at him." He should have been having 3 guys run at him. I mean, he did everything. And man, but again, Jimmy has the ball here in this situation. He ends up getting a little bit of, I think this is one where he ends up getting the fadeaway on him. He gets Morris moving, and that is a tough shot, and so he was so good down the stretch. What a treat. What a treat for us to be able to watch this game tonight. It was just great.
You are telling me, Zeke. Are you surprised at all, considering what Jimmy Butler helped his Heat team do down the stretch, that his answer immediately when asked after the game was that they needed to get better?
No, I'm not surprised by his answer. I think we all are witnessing the Miami Heat's competitive spirit. And, this is a team that believes in itself, that won't give up. But the competitiveness that they keep coming out and competing with game after game, quarter after quarter, you can see their confidence just growing as this series continues. They may not have the 2 best players, but they compete on every single play, and you love their competitive spirit.
What is it then, Grant, that continues to set this Heat team apart? Because we've said time and time again that the team with the best player typically wins the series. And I don't know that it's arguable that the Lakers have the 2 best players on the floor on any given night. So why does this Heat team continue to advance game after game, series after series?
Well, as Isiah said, I mean, they have a toughness, they have a basketball intelligence, they have a great spirit about each other. They play within themselves. They do what they do, and no one's out of character. Everyone understands what their roles are. There's a collective toughness, a collective grit, and I tell you what, I mean, they're down in the series, obviously 3-2, but they've just played great basketball. You have to beat them. They're not going to beat themselves.
The Miami Heat, though, because again, no Goran Dragic in this one as he continues to rehab a torn plantar fascia in his foot. So, Coach, what do you see as the balance between Jimmy Butler scoring and perhaps facilitating this Heat offense in this game?
Yeah, he's going to have to score more. He's going to have to attack more. I think Smitty made a good point. He's going to have to run off picks and have AD start chasing him. When he spaces up AD and AD's got his feet set, squaring him up, it is really hard for a guy of Jimmy Butler's size to get a clean shot off against AD, who's so long, gets those hands up, and just does a great job of keeping between the basket and anybody he's guarding. So the last thing you're going to do if you're playing against AD, you're going to have to shoot over his extended hand. Now, if Butler can come off running and get off some screens and maybe get AD tracing him and shake himself free, but he's got to find a way to score. And, the one thing about Miami, I've always said, I love how hard they play. They have a great team as far as grit and toughness. They don't have that one guy you can just throw the ball to at a spot and say, go to work. Kareem on the right box. LeBron James at the top of the key circle above the three-point line. Let him go downhill. They don't have a guy like that. So everything they do offensively is from movement. They'll have 7 or 8 different movements in one offensive set. The ball goes, and they work really, really hard to get good shots against a really good defensive team like Miami. So what's going to have to happen? Hero's going to have to make shots. Crowder's going to have to make shots. Kelly Olynyk. All these guys are going to have to make a lot of shots, and they're going to play hard. There's no doubt about that. But are they good enough? Because the 2 best players in this series, as far as the best player overall, is LeBron James. And the best two-way guy out there is AD, and they're on one team. They're on the Lakers. So the Heat have got a tremendous steep hill to climb, but they're going to battle. They need some guys to get hot. They need some guys to shoot, and Butler's got to be the man to facilitate, because what Goran Dragic did for them is he played downhill off pick and roll. Everybody else plays a little more east-west off pick and roll. Dragic played downhill, and they're going to miss that.
Bam Adebayo, though, did return to the lineup in Game 4 after an MRI revealed a strained neck on his left side. So, Zeke, as you think about the best way for the Heat to utilize him in this game, not only offensively, but against Anthony Davis as well, what is it?
Well, they like to use Bam at the high post, and he's actually their facilitator and decision maker at the high post in their offense. You see, they'll enter the ball to him at the high post. They'll have some weak side action that he'll read, then he'll have some strong side action that he'll read. And if nothing's there, then he goes into dribble, handoff, screen, and roll. So he's really their best decision maker outside of Dragic on the offensive side of the basketball. But, the thing that I worry about tonight, facing a closeout game with all that movement and all that, as Kevin just, accurately described, they're going to need a lot of players to play well, shoot the ball well, touch the basketball. And one thing to look for early in the game, in each
couple of days. But I want to ask each of you, and I'll start with you, Coach. What does this opportunity say about AD's status in the league? If he's a first-time champion and perhaps a Finals MVP, how could it cement his status?
Yeah, he's a great player. And then you got to become a great winner. I mean, that's what this league's all about. And this is the start of his trek on becoming a great winner. I mean, he's in the finals now. I have so much respect for that kid, because it's funny, because in Game 3 the Lakers didn't play well. Jimmy Butler went crazy, and in Game 4, LeBron has a tough first half. It's a tight game. And he says, let me take Jimmy Butler. He goes out there and puts so much energy in the defensive end. And he lets LeBron kind of handle the offense. He ends up with 22 points. But one of the better defensive efforts I've seen from an individual, just guarding the other team's best player. Did a great job and didn't think twice about it. He's very unselfish. And, he can do everything. He puts the ball on the floor. He shoots it well. He's got little throw shots, little runners in the post. He's long. He's special. But again, it does cement your legacy is when you win. And right or wrong, that's the way it's always been, and the way it will always continue to be in the NBA. Hopefully tonight this is the start of him putting some championship rings down and making his mark as one of the top big guys to ever play.
Zeke?
I'll echo what Kevin said, and I'll add one other thing to it. I think it cements his legacy by winning a championship, but I think it cements his legacy more when you win in a Laker uniform or when you win in a Celtic uniform. The Lakers and the Celtics are historically the 2 best franchises in our league, and the weight of tradition that comes with putting on a Laker uniform or a Celtic uniform, the pressure to win in those 2 organizations, and I'm not talking about, winning games. I'm talking about winning championships. When you look up in the rafters and you see Chamberlain, West, Kareem, Magic, Kobe, and Shaq, I mean, to have your name mentioned with those guys in terms of championship, that's a lot of weight. In the Celtic organization, when you see Havlicek, Cowens, Bird, McHale, Parrish, DJ, when you put on that uniform, there's a lot of weight that comes with playing in those two organizations. And it's different when you win with a Laker uniform or a Celtic uniform, and there's much more pressure on you as an athlete and as a player to win championships in those two organizations. So if he and LeBron win in a Laker jersey, it does significance than in any other jersey they've won in.
Wow, I'm impressed with the props that you're handing, not only those couple of guys, but those couple of franchises as well.
I mean, McHale can speak to it himself.
Yeah.
It's a different kind of pressure.
You are right. But Grant, let me ask you the same thing about Anthony Davis's status as he's looking to cement that in this series.
Yeah, I mean, no question he is, Kristen. And look, we've all known for quite some time now that he's one of the top players in terms of talent in the league. His teams weren't successful. They were, kind of mediocre there in New Orleans. But in terms of his ability, in terms of his talent level, everyone understood and respected what he could do. But to now, as Isiah and Kevin talked about, to be on the stage, to win a championship, it really validates you as one of the elites and one of the greats in the game. And so, I think it's fantastic.